Good afternoon, everyone. It's Virgo Triad here. It is February 8th, 2018, and I wanted to give a shout out to Trixie Belton for locating this piece of documentation here. I have actually heard of a few people receiving these, those that actually attempted to try to access TDA accounts with Treasury and Federal Reserve routing numbers back in June, July, and August have been receiving these as of January. So I wanted to give you guys a heads up that if you did attempt to try to access funds with a Federal Reserve or Treasury Department routing number, these are the letters that are going out to those that are under a certain amount. Over a certain amount, I understand that they are handling them more face to face. I do not know what those limits are, but I do know that there are several people that have received these letters as of the beginning of January. This letter was evidently written by the Department of Treasury, the Office of Inspector General in Washington, D.C., as of December 21st, 2017. The post where this was located states that it was received on the 10th of January. So people are just over the last 30 days getting these letters. And again, these are from I'm assuming from what I have heard from others that these are from people that attempted to try to access their accounts back in June, July, and the beginning of August. So I'm sure there are more to come. I'll go ahead and read this letter to you. Again, it has the proper seal. It is the Office of the Inspector General for Department of the Treasury in Washington, D.C. I have gone ahead and marked out all of the information so that it holds private to the party that received this. It states, we received evidence at this office that you have apparently attempted to establish a claim against the U.S. Treasury by fraudulently submitting documents in an attempt to assert ownership over Treasury security accounts purportedly identified by your Social Security and or birth certificate information. Your demand has no legal validity and is not payable through any federal or state agency. Your scheme appears to be akin to a fraud commonly known as redemption, asserting that the United States government has trust accounts linked to each citizen. This theory is unsupported in fact or law and has been soundly rejected by the federal courts. See Bryant versus Washington Mutual Bank 524F Sup 2D 753 2007 Civil and United States versus Anderson, Sigorsky, Yates, Moderman, Sloboda, Goodwin and Shriver 353F3D 490 2003 criminal. Such claims and demands against the U.S. Treasury are wholly unfounded. Be advised that presenting documents premised upon such fraud or assisting in any other individual or entity in the preparation of such a demand may subject you to civil penalties and criminal prosecution for presenting false claims, making false statements, and fictitious obligations under Title 18 United States Code. You may wish to seek competent legal counsel regarding the law and penalties applicable to these offenses. And then it is signed by counsel. So I just wanted to go ahead and share this with everybody, that these are the types of letters that people are starting to see come back from those that attempted to use Federal Reserve and U.S. Treasury routing numbers, and also those who attempted to try to file paperwork with Treasury Direct, insisting that the accounts that were found on the auction sites were theirs. As I've tried to explain in the past, the calculator that was being used by the gurus to show you how to look up what your supposed value of your birth certificate and social security card were, are not the way those calculators work. I've tried to go over that at this point at nauseum. And so you can go back in my videos and you can find the reason why that is not the case. You can find out how they actually do work. But regardless, this is a letter that is directed towards those that did initiate payments for under a certain amount. Whatever that amount is, whatever the limit is that they're saying, okay, I don't know what it is. All right. I don't know if it's okay. Everybody who tried things that were under $5,000, we're going to forward this letter from the United States Treasury Inspector General's Council and let them know, hey, don't do it again. Or that you're being looked at or whatever, or if it's people that are under, 50,000. But I know that people that seem to be getting them are people that did smaller amounts, um, and people that did larger amounts. Some of them are actually being questioned and have actually been approached by law enforcement, and some of them have even had charges brought up against them. These things are just starting to come out now because I don't know why, but there seems to be a perception out there that, hey, I did this back in July and I never heard anything, so obviously there's not going to be anything that happens to me, so on and so forth. That just simply isn't true. The statute of limitations on this type of thing is, in some states 8 years, in other states doesn't end. So I mean, this is something where, um, just because you weren't approached within the last couple of months or within the last 6 months does not mean you're not going to still hear something. I don't think that people who try minuscule things need to be freaking out about it. So I'm not suggesting that. I am saying, however, you may receive one of these letters as people are beginning to receive these letters. They're beginning to submit them in to me. I've seen 4 or 5 of them at this point. They all are in the lower areas, a couple $100 or below, that they attempted to try, but they're not being forgotten. They are being approached by, um, with at least some acknowledgement that, hey, we know you tried this, don't do it again. So please, everybody, if you are thinking of attempting to do this again in any way, I would take heed to the fact that it is being noticed even from back as far as July, far as June. It is something that law enforcement is aware of. They have said numerous times these accounts do not exist. So therefore, you know, it's up to you what you do, but once again, this channel tries to ensure that people don't get hurt or damaged by scams that are going around. And at this point, we have people that are pushing really, really hard in one direction, saying, no, these accounts do exist. We just haven't figured out how to access them yet, so on and so forth. I'm telling you, people, this is a bad idea. It's a very bad idea to move forward. We even have some channels that are saying, hey, you guys, go to Vistaprint, get checks with the U.S. Treasury Department routing number printed on them. I promise you it will not end in a letter if you do that. Okay? There are things that are going into place right now that are affecting people that tried this back in June and July. So I would suggest that you sit back. If you even want to take the stance that, hey, I think these things do exist, but you might want to sit back and just watch, because the more and more time that goes by, the more and more we're going to see of this kind of thing. And this is what you guys were warned of to begin with off of this channel, that this was not going to go without some repercussions if indeed I was accurate about the fact that these accounts don't exist. And I am accurate about the fact that these accounts do not exist. So just to let you guys know, wanted you to be able to see this for yourself. As more comes up, I will report on it as always, and I hope everybody has a good, safe, and happy week. And everybody just please be cautious, be careful, and make sure that you seek legal counsel if you've got questions with regards to any of anything you deal with having to do with the U.S. Treasury. IRS, government entities, they can severely screw your life up. So please make sure you know what you're doing before you do it. Okay, guys? Take care. Bye bye.